So I guess we can get started. Before we get started, make sure to grab your own copy of the YashaHime English translated version of the manga from the Viz website. I will leave a link down below in the description below. This is not sponsored, but I'm just letting you guys know so we can further support the series. So Moroku and Sango appear! So basically at this point, Moroku and Sango are like asking the girls, you know, questions. They're like, where were you? As 3-year-olds, like, you don't really get what's freaking happening. Setsuna's like, a house? And then Moroha's like, there was a big pond in the backyard and I got in trouble for climbing a tree. Eating snacks. And they're like trying to tell them, like, answer their questions, right? It's Moroku and Sango, and they're like, oh, sounds like a large estate of some kind. So they're probably like worried sick as well because it's been 3 years, right? And then question 2, who was with you? And then Moroha said there was a lot of moms, but none of them are real moms. And then Setsuna said, we had the Unmothers and Mr. Shappy, whoever Mr. Shappy is, right? And then they ask, your mothers are Kagome and Rin, right? And they're like, yeah. Were they with you? No, they weren't around. And then they're like, none of this makes any sense. So basically, from what I can guess, happened was Kagome and Rin had to like leave or something, and they just had like the Unmothers to take care of them while they were gone, and then somehow like they got attacked while they were not home.
That's so strange though. Why would they get the Unmothers to take care of them? Because the Unmothers are freaky. They're dangerous.
No, they're not dangerous. It's just that in the original InuYasha, the Unmother just got commissioned to do something to InuYasha. But like in general, they're just like made out of like lost souls from war. Like mother souls, if that makes sense. So like when I watched the original InuYasha, like I felt really sad for the Unmother, even though it was kind of weird, and like yeah, she was kind of like absorbed his soul or whatever. You kind of feel bad for her. She's like, oh my boy, like she like saved him at the end of the day, you know. Moroku and Sango were like asking questions. Moroha's like, yo, can I play with Hisui and Kingyo and the others? Like, I know, it's so freaking cute. But then Moroku's like, one more thing, and then they're like, why isn't Towa with you? Where did she go? And then Moroha and like Setsuna like start freaking out. Like Setsuna starts freaking bawling her eyes out, and she's like, Towa is, and then she starts crying, right? Aww. As 3-year-olds, like you don't really know like what's happening. You kind of just like are there, if that makes sense. I think she just started crying because like she's not with them anymore, you know. Moroku's like, oh, what happened? Like, stop crying. It's so funny because Sango's like, I promise I'll punch the bad man for you, and then she like slaps. It's so freaking funny. And then they kind of like stop questioning them because like that's like the most they can remember. Guess that's all we'll be able to get out of them for now, at least. Maybe they'll remember more later. They just kind of hope like InuYasha and Kagome are alright, basically. Over time they like continued to question them, but like over time obviously their memories started like fading away, right? They're like, oh, it was like a big mansion, I climbed trees, I think. And then Setsuna was like, I think there was a lot of like maternal figures around, but they weren't exactly real, you know. Over time like their memories just like disappeared. And for like Towa's perspective, basically she doesn't remember anything of like what happened then. She only knows of what Sota told her happened that day she was discovered, and basically she was just like in shock of what happened basically, and no one can ever get any like details of her, but she just doesn't remember anymore because like there's like a little bit of clues like the mansion, like a little pond and stuff like that. Towa's kind of like, a mansion though, that sounds really familiar, right? She has like a vision of like a mansion like in flames and like a hand, so it's like a little bit of memories are like starting to come back, right? She starts remembering something, but then they get interrupted because like more like zombie boys come in, and they're like, oh my god. While Moroha and like Setsuna are like fighting the other people, they figure out that it was like a decoy to get them separated, if that makes sense. The target is like Towa at that point. Towa, you know, she's there trying her freaking best to fight off these demons and stuff like that. Kaede, poor Kaede, this girl like never catches a break. Look at this girl. They're trying to figure out that someone is basically controlling them, if that makes sense. So basically they're trying to find the person basically possessing demons, and then Towa tries to lure the dead people away, but all of a sudden she's like, there's a fire all around me. But like Kaede's like, oh, it's a trap, like there's no fire. But then like Towa keeps running away, and then she starts getting more like visions back. She's like, oh, I have a feeling that this happened to me before, like with the fire and everything, right? So then she starts having more of like like a flashback of what happened. So she's like on the estate. The estate was on fire. They're being attacked. And then they were with like a bunch of like the Unmothers, right? So the Unmothers took the girls and they were like running away. She's like, what is it, Unmother? Where are we going? And then basically Rin, Unmother, was like, stay calm, Towa. The enemy has breached the barrier. We've been ordered to evacuate. And then they're like, look, Setsuna and Moroha are here with us. Like, there's nothing to fear. They're like running away. They're trying to like tell the girls like, you know, it's okay. Like, we have to evacuate because we're being attacked, right? And then all of a sudden, like, there's like demons attacking. And then one of them got the Unmother that was carrying Towa. And like, it's so scary to see like Rin's head beheaded. Like, oh my god, Rin's headless, man. A demon like gets the Unmother that was carrying Towa, and then Towa freaks out, and then the Unmother that was carrying Setsuna grabs onto Towa, and they're like running basically. And then this really old man comes in all of a sudden and like basically saves them from the demon that was attacking them. And they're like, Master Chaperone. And then he's like, yeah, like this old man is like, good work, Unmothers, hurry, take them to the ox cart and protect them at all costs. So he's there like defending them. And then all of a sudden it's Kantan and Homura. So basically Kantan is one of the 5 perils, and Homura is the guy that like set the whole forest ablaze in the show. So like they were the ones that were present. They were the ones that were attacking them and stuff like that, right? By the way, Kantan looking kind of spicy or whatever. Like, what the heck? What? Look at this man. Look at this man. And then Kantan is like, the children must perish here as Master Zero commands, right? The chaperone guy is like, okay, I'll handle these 2. The rest of you go. And they're like, yes, Master Chaperone. So basically, it reveals that the chaperone guy was just Jockin in disguise. And it's so epic how he transforms! It's so epic. I like how he transforms in his old man form. He's like, I'll handle these 2. The rest of you go. The Unmothers were like, yes, Master Chaperone. Kantan was like, you're Sesshomaru's lapdogs, aren't you? And he's like, why should we fear you, right? And then Jockin's like, that's true. I'm a lapdog, but you see. And then like he like does like this hand motion to like reveal himself, and it looks all epic and shit. And he's like, it takes a powerful master to keep me as a pet, the likes of me as a pet. And I'm like, what the? And he's like, and don't you forget it. And then like he like transforms. I love this scene. Like I could see it in like I could see it animated, and it looks so freaking sick. It looks so freaking sick. Jockin was like left to fight freaking Kantan and Homura, which is like, Jockin, man, don't freaking die on me, please. No. So he defends them, and then Towa and Setsuna are running, and then the Unmother's like, just run, don't look back. And then Towa's like, Mr. Shappy? I think they call him Mr. Shappy, which is so funny. Setsuna and Towa are holding hands as they're running with the Unmother. Freaking Towa drops her beanbag, and then she lets go of Setsuna while they're running. And then as she tries to pick up the beanbag, a demon comes to attack Towa, right? But then the Unmother is like, oh no. And then she's like, take him to the ox cart, right? So Kagome Unmother like takes Setsuna and Moroha to the ox cart, and then Rin Unmother defends Towa from the freaking demon that's gonna attack her. So freaking Unmother Rin takes out a knife, starts stabbing all these freaking demons.
Oh wait, I have a question. Where is Moroha in all of this?
She was there with one of the Unmothers. There was nothing really happening with her though. She was running too. So Towa's like apologizing. She's like, oh Unmother, I'm sorry like that she let go of Setsuna. And then the Unmother's like, oh, it's alright, like just keep your eyes closed as she's stabbing these demons, like, nah. And then all of a sudden Chikyo appears, and she's like, the child may pass this way. She'll be safe on the other side of the bridge of time. Rin Unmother's like, who are you? And Chikyo's like, you must trust me, hurry. So I think it's like, you know, the mother's instinct at that point. It's like, okay, like this is my only chance, right? Rin Unmother just yoinks her through the freaking time tree tunnel, and then that's where Towa just ends up, right? That's basically how Towa ended up at the other side. So do you remember the owl boy?
Yes.
From the original? So that's the guy who was possessing the demons in like the current time, I guess you could say, to separate them, and then is trying to attack Towa and stuff like that. So he's trying to get Towa alone because Towa is like not as strong as like Moroha and Setsuna, right? He's like, now girl, give me the rainbow pearl and I'll make your death a quick one. And she's like, what are you talking about? And he's like, don't play dumb. So I think this is really cool because it kind of paralleled how Kagome didn't know she had the sacred jewel in her, and then like the freaking centipede, and everyone's like, yo, like give me the sacred jewel, and she's like, I don't have the sacred jewel, what do you mean? Like that mythical object. And then it's like the same thing basically. So the pearls are again a thing in this manga too. Owl boy is like gonna steal the freaking pearl from Towa. You know who saves her? You know who saves Towa?
Hisui?
No, Hisui and Kohaku aren't in it yet.
Sango and Moroku.
No.
Shippo.
No.
Jockin.
No. It was the Unmother that saved Towa. She waited 10 years to save her. Remember earlier how I was like, oh, this makes so much sense. Like this scene, right? It was the Unmother. The Unmother just appeared. She's like, oh, this is where you are, Towa. She was looking for her.
She was looking for her for 10 years.
Yeah, she looked for her.
Unmother.
The Unmother.
Rin?
Yeah, Unmother Rin.
Oh,
looked
but why did she ask Unmother Kagome?
Huh?
Wasn't Unmother Kagome with Towa?
No! Unmother Rin was
Yes.
holding Setsuna and Towa. Unmother
Yes.
Kagome was holding onto Moroha. They were
Yes.
all escaping, but
Yes.
then Towa dropped her beanbag and separated from Setsuna. But Kagome, Moroha, Rin, and Setsuna kept running. Rin noticed that Towa was lagging behind and was like telling Kagome, okay, take these two and take them to the cart. So Rin went back to save Towa basically, while Kagome took the other two to the cart. So they were separated. The person that was with Towa the whole time was Unmother Rin. She yoinked her through the portal. And I guess she survived. She probably like ran away after, you know? But like 10 years later, she saved Towa from the owl boy. And then she was like, get away from Towa, you fiend. And she's like, Unmother, how did you find us? And then she's like, don't touch my child and stuff like that, you know? And so like it really paralleled like the Unmother episode from the original InuYasha, which is really cool. What I liked about like how they depicted the Unmother in this one, because like again, like I said earlier, I felt really bad for the Unmother in the original InuYasha series. I think it's really cool how they depicted the Unmother differently in this story. How it was someone that like saved Towa, right? And at the end of the day, in the original InuYasha series, Mizayoi, Unmother, saved InuYasha as well from whoever was attacking him at that time. I don't remember. Owl boy attacks Unmother, and then you know like anime pro tags when like someone you care about is like getting hurt, and then all of a sudden you have like hella power. So that's basically what happened with Towa. She gains like this like immense power. She's like, curse you! Your master took everything from us. I'm gonna make you pay. She's like really like angry and kills Owl boy. Blah blah blah. And then like she starts like attacking the other possessed human crow people. And then Setsuna and Moroha run back to Kaene's hut, and they're like, oh my god, like that demonic power, is it Towa? And then Moroha's like, no, it's too strong. She could barely summon any energy to defend herself before, you know? But like, you know, it was Towa. Like she was like angry. She's like, ah,
Yeah.
how dare you, you know? Like, and there's this really cool frame or like panel of Towa fighting the rest of the demons with his last breath, I guess you could say. He was like, gasp, it's Lord Sesshomaru. He kind of looks like him here, which is really cool. And like, no, of course, it's not possible. The owl boy actually got away, surprisingly.
Wait, he
got
never
away.
died?
No, he didn't. Sorry, my bad.
Oh.
He didn't die. He got away. He's like, I shall return. He's hugging the Unmother and stuff like that. Yeah.
Oh.
And then the girls meet up with her, and they're like, is that an Unmother? And then Towa's like, she was like a mother to us, a sort of demon nanny, right? And then they're like, a bunch of them took care of us when we were little. And then the Unmother, you know what the Unmother does? You know what the Unmother does?
What? Hugs her?
No. The Unmother gives Towa the beanbag she dropped. So
She kept her all this time.
She did.
And was looking for her for 10 years. And she was able to save her.
Yeah, so sad. And then she was like, we're so glad you're safe. And then she like, I like how she said we're, like, it's like all the Unmothers are glad that you're safe. And then she like disintegrated into the air. And then Towa's like crying, you know, like I think I like how they kept, you know, Towa's kind of like feels for other people and like her emotions. I'm happy they kept that much, because like she is still badass, but like I'm glad they kept her softness, because again, that's how like Rin was, I guess you could say.
And it contrasts with Setsuna's personality due to the
curse. It's kind of like Towa's crying for Setsuna or whatever. I think when I went through the portal, it meant her duty was left unfinished. She's been searching for me all these years. And then Setsuna's like, I see, our old childhood memories are starting to make sense. Moroha's like, so who's Mr. Shappy? And then they're like, probably a friend of like our parents, like that.
Rocket!
Yeah, so, you know, Towa, again, she's like, oh, it's all my fault, you know. But if you think about it, she was a kid, right? If your freaking favorite toy fell on the ground while you're running away, like, obviously you would, like, go back and get it. Like, I would have done that.
Yeah.
She was a kid. Like, I don't blame her for it at all. Moroha's, like, encouraging Setsuna to, like, console Towa because she's, like, upset and stuff like that and sad and grieving and stuff like that. And then Towa's like, I grieve for the Unmother. And then Setsuna's like, but we're alive and we're back together again. I think I must be happy.
Oh.
So like Setsuna's like guessing that she's feeling like, oh, like maybe I'm happy at this moment, like maybe I should be feeling happy. But, like to feel sadness only, sadness and anger is so sad, so freaking sad.
It's hard.
Yeah,
How
it's
can you
hard.
live like that?
I think Towa's kind of like, no one told Towa about Setsuna's curse, but she's kind of getting the feels of, you know, maybe there's something different about Setsuna, right? And then Trikyo appears. Yeah, she's like, go west, princess of Yasha, to the end of the land of the rising sun. You will find your past and future, where the origin of the rift in time lies. If the rift is not contained, it will destroy the world. And then there's like a picture of Kirinmaru and Zero, like, but like shaded, basically. When all is in its rightful place again, you and your parents will return to where you belong and regain what you have lost. Please save the world, my beloved children of Yasha. Girl sounds like a fortune cookie, right? At this point, like, this is like prophecy, like part 2. So it's like, you know, in the original series, the prophecy was like, it was so freaking confusing for no reason. When Kirinmaru emerges and Sesshomaru emerges, and like you have to defeat both of them, and if you defeat one, you have to defeat the other, and blah 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 blah, and like their dinner age will like cease to exist, and blah blah blah, stuff like that, right? It was so confusing because it kind of leaves you like, what even is the goal? Like, what are they supposed to do, right? Are they supposed to kill Sesshomaru? They're supposed to kill Kirinmaru? Like, they're not even strong enough to. So like, what the heck? But basically, the goal is just to keep the rift in order and protect it. Basically just to protect the, what is it, the time thingy? Time portal thingy? Yeah, it's basically the portal in Inukimi's home or whatever that they went through. Keep the rift in order and protect it, basically. Which, you know, obviously would probably mean they're gonna have to defeat the people that are out to get it, right? So like Zero, Kirinmaru, but like I think Chikyo is a little really vague here as well, but you know, it is what it is. And then like your parents will return, and like you'll return to like regain what you lost and like where you belong, right? Chikyo like disappears or whatever. And then Moroha here is so freaking funny because she says, they're like, oh, like hold on, like wait a second, like we have questions, like, and stuff like that, right? For Chikyo. But like she already left after like 2 freaking lines, right? And then Moroha's like, she always disappears the second she's finished with one of her speeches. If she's gonna ask us to do stuff, she should at least leave us money and directions. You know, like I've been saying, like I remember in like the original show, like I was like, yo, like Chikyo's been asking way too much, like for literally nothing in return, right? At least here, it's like there's a reason why they want to go, right? Setsuna's like, we have no choice. The fate of the world is at stake. We owe our lives to our parents and the Tree of Ages. We must do as she requests. Whereas in the anime, it was kind of like, there straight up was no reason for them, like other than like to believe the Tree of Ages, right? Like there was no trust between the girls and the Tree of Ages. She just appears and was like, y'all gotta do this stuff, right? But like in this manga, it's different because the Tree of Ages is like literally saved the lives. She says, we owe our lives to our parents and the Tree of Ages, because, you know, the Tree of Ages like literally looked out for the girls up until now, right? Saved Towa, sent Kaede to take care of Setsuna and Moroha and stuff like that. So it's like, hey, you can trust me, but please like help me save the world, you know, in return of like your well-being and stuff like that, right? Moroha's like, it'll make Grandma Kaede happy to see our moms again, and you're coming with us, right, Towa? I know our world must seem strange to you. And then Towa's like, of course I'm coming, I'm part of this family, I have to find my aunt Kagome and meet my parents, right? So they have like so much reasons to trust in the Tree of Ages, and it's like they want to see their parents, they want to see Kaede happy again, you know? Hearing about like InuYasha and Kagome her whole life, would want to see and like save them, so like, you know, Sota can like see Kagome again and stuff like that, right? So it's like, it's so nice to see them have like a reason to keep going, if that makes sense, you know? It's a reason to do what they want to do, because I feel like in the original anime, again, they had no reason to trust Chikyo, and like that quest was like a side quest, because like the original reason why Towa went through the freaking portal was to get Setsuna's memories back, right? But then here it's just like, they actually care, man, they actually care, and it's so nice to see. It's literally the bare minimum, but it's like, I'm so happy to see this. Like after, you know, like saving the world and stuff like that, the Tree of Ages said will be where we belong, right? But then it kind of questions like, you know, where does Towa belong, right? Does she belong in Tokyo or in the feudal era? But like I feel like up until this point, since the beginning, there's a lot of points where they show that Towa doesn't belong in the modern era, and they also show like Towa doesn't really belong in the feudal era either. But like I feel like, again, like in the anime, like like Towa can just warm up to the freaking feudal era soon, like easily, right? So it's like the next day they're chilling. Moroha explains that she has like demonic power and spiritual power. That's why she's like a healer basically. And then after Moroha gives Kaede a massage, she's like, pay up, you know? And then Kaede's like, you're charging me? And then Moroha's like, nothing's free in this world, granny. And then Kaede's like, greed isn't one of your finer qualities, Moroha. But honestly, like I think this is funny because in Filipino culture, it's like after you give a massage to someone, you have to give them money so the person that's giving the massage doesn't get the same like aches and pains in their bodies, if that makes sense. You know, Moroha like didn't give up like that whole how she wants money stuff. I think again, like I like that she doesn't have debt to pay, because that was so shitty of like them to do. Like they literally like made Moroha pay a debt that she didn't like, you know, create for herself, if that makes sense. It was just like but I'm glad that they like took that out entirely in the manga, and they just made it like a funny like a gag personality thing with her, you know,
like she just wants money.
But at the end of the day, as I said earlier, Setsuna and Moroha work a lot defeating demons to help Granny Kaede for paying. So it's probably just like it's just a joke, you know. So Kaede gives her one mon, and then Moroha's like, that's it, you skinflint. What the frick? Yeah, and then Moroha's like, but money's money, and she's like, thanks grandma. And then Kaede is like, on the other hand, at times she can be rather charming. So cute. And then when they showed like the one mon, they have the Pio, like little logo in the background, which is like Rumiko Takahashi. She always has like the Pio, like the chick on like Kagome's like apron. They also have it in like Maison Ikoku apron on the girl's apron, stuff like that. I think that's really cute that Shina added that in the background there. So Setsuna's done cooking food and stuff like that, and basically Towa like adds like a little bit of flavor to the food because Towa complained that like it was a little salty and like flavorless. So she adds like little like something to it, and then Setsuna's like, what's that? And then she's like, Papa Sota included a lot of notes in the go bag of his. He wrote down tons of useful stuff. He's been studying the feudal era ever since he was a kid. I think it's cool that they're adding more to his character, like even like past stuff. It was cute. Towa's like helping out with like modern era like knowledge with the food and like just stuff in general, like how Kagome did as well. I think that's cute. So basically Sota, like back when he was a kid, back when Kagome was like going back and forth through the modern era and the feudal era, he would study up on the feudal era. So he like wrote stuff down about like the food. So he's like, the food of feudal time was pretty tasteless by modern standards. From that, Big Sis told me it seems there wasn't much variety for flavor. So take miso for example. So yeah, stuff like that. He like did like a lot of research. Also explains how filming Towa, he's like a feudal era nerd at this point, if that makes sense. There's also like Kagome here. She like would walk in on him like nerding out about like the feudal era and stuff like that. And then like there's like the little panda from Ranma here, like a little Easter egg, which I thought was really cute. But yeah, and I enjoyed the food and stuff like that. I think it was cute because like you would think like the scene would be kind of like random, but there's like the meaning behind it is like, oh, to Towa, like that dish that she created with Kaede is like how she feels about the past and the present. She feels like she belongs to both. As she's eating the food that like they cook together, it's like she's eating food from like both Papa Sota and Kaede, which is cute. It's like the food is like a little metaphor of like what Towa is. She's both a feudal era girl and a modern era girl. Like she feels like she belongs to both. After, you know, questioning, like after Chikyo was like, oh, like after you do the mission, you will return to where you belong, and she's like, well, maybe I belong to both places, you know. So yeah, so now I'm kind of wondering, like, would Shina open up the well or open up the time tree tunnel for them to travel back and forth now that like he kind of foreshadowed that Sota and Kagome are going to reunite one day. So I think that's interesting.
Yeah.
So after that meal, they basically go off and they're like, okay, bye Kaede, and then Kaede's like, take good care of each other, good luck and stuff like that.
They're leaving her. She's gonna be all alone again.
Yeah, and they're like, starting now, I'll do what I can for this home. Towa's like, I'll find Aunt Kagome and InuYasha and tell them how loved they are.
Aww,
I know, it's so freaking cute. Have our parents been thinking about us all this time too? Are they waiting for us to comfort them? This is the last frame, but their journey begins and everything, and it's so wholesome! So wholesome, it's so cute.
It's so good.
And then it's like, I can't wait to meet them, and stuff like that. And they're like, yeah, let's go, our journey begins. The last panel is actually of Sesshomaru talking to Rin in the sacred tree here. So yeah, he goes, Rin, our daughters are on the move. Time to see what a half demon can do. Boy, you've been seeing!
He believes he has faith.
Boy, you've been seeing what a half demon can do. Your brother. But he has faith in his daughters and everything, and yeah, I think that's really cute. I think that's
Wow,
really
the character
cute.
development.
I love the
fact
manga.
that he said he
freaking
believes in half demon stuff.
Yeah, but I love the manga. It still hurts me that the girls didn't grow up with their parents. Like, I think that's something that like will always hurt. But at the end of the day, I think it's just something that you kind of just get over. Like, especially knowing, like, following the original anime the whole time. Overall, this first volume was really freaking amazing. There was so much that like I wish we had in the anime that's like depicted. The writing is better. The backstory between like all the characters are so much better. The like, you know, internal monologues, like how characters feel. Like no one's like shy to communicate in this freaking story versus in the anime everyone like no one wants to talk to each other. Everyone's just like, you know, I'm just gonna keep this to myself, right? You know, like Kaede not freaking telling Kohaku that Setsuna is a half demon. Like, damn. I also like how Rin and Kagome kind of spent some time at least with the girls, if that makes sense. At least 3 years. Like at birth, that's so freaking sad. That's so sad. At birth, Stromer just yoinked them from Rin. Like, huh?